welcome back to Behind the Label. We're currently threading our way through history with Colonel Taylor.
Oh, difficult guy to follow.
If you've been watching the episodes, it's like a Chinese.
He had his hands in everything.
Yeah.
If it was Frankfurt and a distillery, he had his hands in it.
Yeah. So and that's why we have all these sitting up here. In some way, he is tied to all these. So make sure you watch all the other episodes of.
So back then or present day.
Right, exactly. Yeah. From literally late 1800s till present day. So on our last episode, we were finishing up
Buffalo Trace,
trying to do the Buffalo Trace. How Taylor was part of that establishment.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't really a whiskey tasting or kind of thing, but we like to at least comment on some of the properties of the whiskey. So this is the 90 proof, right?
It's 90 proof, yes. A lot of their stuff is 90 proof. Eagle Rare, it's 90 proof. It's actually the same. They have a few different mash bills. They have two different what we call rye-based bourbon mash bills. This one actually this is 8 to 10 years old. And when you go on their tours, their warehouses, they'll talk about the difference between, because nobody rotates barrels anymore.
I always wondered that. I always wondered why they didn't have it on some mechanical rotation.
Yeah. So if you like Benchmark and Old Charter and stuff like that, you're getting it from the top. Ages fast, it's young. 3 or 4 years, it's out there.
Now, why is that? Let's explain why that is.
Well, it's just the interaction with the barrel.
I was told because the heat kind of goes up toward the top.
The heat goes up.
And that's what basically...
There's a lot more interaction.
Speeds up the chemical reaction.
There's a lot more in and out of the barrel. So it causes it to age faster. And so it's a younger bourbon. So 3 or 4 years. Now this is actually in the middle of the warehouse. And this is anywhere from 8 to 10 years old. So this is actually... So this is... You're getting into some really nice bourbon here. Yeah, and if you go on their tour, they never tell you the mash bill, though, what it is.
But anyway.
But I mean, it's, they have 2 different rye-based mash bills. There's one that's called a little bit lower rye, which is means it's less than 10% rye. That's where this will fall. So they don't give the exact percentages and everything. So a little bit less than 10% rye. But this is, I mean, it's a good everyday drinker.
If you want like a really good just go-to, like, hey, we're having a gathering and we want just a really good, we know what we're getting kind of whiskey, this is it.
It's only around $25. So it's kind of sometimes it might be a little more difficult to find, but when you find it, you can find it. But if you look hard enough, usually about $25.
So as we were talking about in the last episode, Colonel Taylor is tied into this because Colonel Taylor used to work for, actually he used to own the distillery originally. It wasn't called the Colonel Taylor Distillery at that time.
No.
But it got sold. He hit the hard times and he had to sell it to George T. Stagg. But Mr. Stagg kept him on as basically president.
Plant manager, he ran everyday operations.
He kind of ran everything. But as you were talking about before, they didn't get along very well.
But it is.
So inevitably they were looking for a split. So Colonel Taylor was looking ahead at this time. He already went through 2 different distilleries. Again, watch our other episodes for that. So he's already owned 2 different distilleries. This is including the one that's now Buffalo Trace. So he's still in the I'm really wanting to make whiskey kind of mood.
He is.
So before he leaves George T. Stagg's establishment, which is now Buffalo Trace, he buys a third
distillery.
And who does he buy it from?
He buys, actually his son. And it's actually, back in the day when I had an arm, you could almost throw a rock and hit it from here. There's always, since the early 1800s, all this is called the Johnson Farm. It's thousands of acres.
Now, is Woodford Reserve, is it close enough to be on that?
No, it would have been these 2. So he buys, there's been a distillery here since the early 1800s. Now, Jacob, his son.
Oh, his son, okay. So Colonel Taylor's son.
Colonel Taylor's son, Jacob Swigert Taylor. So he buys it 1879. And he turns around within 3 years and he sells it to his dad. So it's kind of the opposite of TV Rippy and his dad. His dad sold it to him.
Yeah. Was it successful? Was the son successful with it, or did he?
It was a small distillery. Okay. It was small. What you think about? When you think about small distilleries with animals and pigs and all that. It was one of the smaller distilleries. He turned around and sold it to his dad in 1882. 5 years later, Colonel Taylor builds what is there today. Old Taylor Distillery. And
I think the name is, I think they even still have the plaque up there, if I'm not mistaken.
oh, there's a sign right above the door, yes. There's a big debate between Buffalo Trace and them about using the name. They don't go by that now, Old Taylor, but.
That's right, because who owns the Old Taylor name?
Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
They own Old Taylor.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, so I can see where there would be a little bit of a rub
Yes,
there.
yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a name associated with quality. So they're not going to give up that name real easily. So he builds that distillery there. And he takes everything I think he saw from Europe. But one of the buildings, it looks like a castle.
Yeah, in fact, for those of you that are kind of interested in coming visiting here, again, like you said, you can walk from here to there in 5 minutes.
Oh, we can, yes. Just around the corner.
Yeah, it clearly was designed from the get-go to be visually appealing, not only make quality whiskey, but the building itself was supposed to look like a castle.
They're going to give you a little more of this.
In fact, it's known by now, its name.
It's Castle Key.
Castle and Key.
Yeah. But like I said, back then it's Colonel Taylor.
So that's what we're trying now. We're
Yes.
trying some of the.
You've never had it before.
I've never had this.
I've had it. It's great for the. Normally, this you can buy normally if you. I've found it at Buffalo Trace before. You know, before a tour, go in, they actually had it. You know, $36. If you buy anywhere else, minimum $60. A lot of places, $99 to $129. But if you find it, retail is about $36. But it's a popular. They make different variations of it. They have a single barrel.
So this is small proof.
Yes, this is a ball and bond, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too about its association with ball and bond.
But this is certainly different than like we talked about.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely a quality difference and definitely production.
This is, top shelf if you can find it. Most of the time it's empty. But so he built this distillery, and you've been there. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, Castle and Key is definitely one of the most visually striking distilleries. Especially in contrast to here, like we were talking about before. This is visually striking, like a castle ruin. It's kind of interesting, an industrial ruin type thing. Castle and Key, it's beautifully built, and the new owners who now took it over. When was that? 2014.
2014. Yeah.
Are really putting a lot of effort into, a lot of landscaping.
Effort and money.
Yeah, and money. The gift shop is just, when you walk in there, it's beautiful. It's really high ceilings. It's just really nice.
So, but he built it that way. I mean, he built it as a tourism attraction.
And when he says he's talking about, we're back to Colonel Taylor.
Yeah.
It's easy to get lost in the names.
Yeah, he built it as, as a tourism site. I mean, it's got that peristyle over top of the spring. The key-shaped spring.
And that's the key part of the name is
from the
they
spring.
have a natural spring there on site that they, I guess, got the water from to make the whiskey, and it's actually shaped like an old-fashioned keyhole.
Yeah. So they got the castle, and then they got the key. Yeah. But they have sunken gardens on it. John Karloftis, they brought him in to do all the landscaping and everything. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful if you walk the grounds. You can come there and you don't necessarily have to take the tour. You can go out there and sit by Greens Creek, and they have music and all this. So he built it like that.
So that wasn't, did he tear down the original one he built?
Yes,
from his
he tore down his
So he tore that one down, okay.
Yes, and built this.
Okay.
I mean, there's stone bridges, there are gazebos.
And you think this is from his experiences in Europe?
I definitely have to be. I mean, if you think Kentucky, it looks like Ireland anyway.
Yeah.
And he brought all that with him. And, he had a spur of the Roundy B Railroad ran here. So guests could come and stop at Taylorton Station.
From Frankfurt.
From Frankfurt,
yes. Where the spur came from.
Yes.
And Frankfurt is what, 6 miles?
Something about that,
7 miles?
Yeah. Yeah, so he had that ran out here, so guests could stop.
Just for tourism.
Just for tourism.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the 1880s when he did this. So
and I'll throw a picture up. There's actually a really interesting photo that shows that. There actually is at the spring, at the key-shaped spring. There's probably 300 people there. And of course, they're all dressed very well as they did back then. And I can't really tell the event that's happening, but clearly it's some kind of a get-together.
Oh, it was a place. It was the place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in Frankfurt, this was the place. This was the place.
But you got to imagine, even now, with a modern road and everything, this little town is called Millville. This little area. It's kind of an out of the way place.
It is.
It's
if you take the road, if you come down for sales and cut across, and then you take this little road into Richmond, it's a one-lane road.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no line dividing it, so it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so in the 1880s, without the railroad, it would have been basically in the woods almost.
It would have been. So he knew, I mean, he planned it out, and you know, it was, this distillery did well.
Now, how old was Colonel Taylor at this point when he?
Well, you're talking about 1887, he's born in 1832, so he still wasn't.
He wasn't super old or anything.
Yeah, he was like in his mid-50s.
Yeah.
He'd done a lot in 55 years. And so he runs it, you know, until Prohibition. Like,
That's good.
yeah, oh, this is very good. This is very good. Oh,
That's good.
yeah, this here, the E.H. Taylor, it's, you know, it's a bottle and bond. So what do we know about bottle and bond?
Tell me it again. I always have to ask
Okay.
every single time.
So bottle and bond, to be that, it's got to be aged in a, you know, a federally secure warehouse, so they know what's there. It's got to be aged at least 4 years. Doesn't have to be just 4 years, but at least 4 years. It's got to be bottled at 100 proof exactly. So no 101, nothing like that. No wild turkey 101.
Oh yeah,
It has to be made by one distiller at one distillery in one distilling season. So you can't take different years to put them together. So, and the distilling season is not a whole year. So it's from January to June is one distilling season, from July to December is another. So you can't even mix the June and July together. So it's 100 proof. Like I said, it's also, it takes that low rye recipe, mash bill #1 from Buffalo Trace. You know, 4+ years. Like I said, we know the price of it is, you know, $40.
Well, theoretically.
Theoretically, yes. We were lucky, we found a good price on this one, so this is very good
But
stuff.
the bottle and bond, just a real quick, originally was instituted back, when was the date?
1897.
Yeah, and it came basically as a quality control because if you've again watched our other episodes, people, they would literally put like tobacco juice or walnut stain, all kinds of things in essentially moonshine a lot of times, if they were lucky, if it was even that. They would, who knows, methanol, whatever came out of the pipe, that's what they bottled up and sold. And Bottle and Bond Act was brought in to assure that that didn't happen, to get quality, make sure that was, you know, that you get what you're paying for.
Yeah, it was 1897. He was a big proponent, I mean a big proponent of it. And you think about it, it was the first act to, you know, guarantee like a standard of quality, and, you know, it was for bourbon. It wasn't for food.
Yeah, yeah, you can eat whatever you want.
Yeah, so it wasn't for food. So I mean, he did a lot. He did that, and he actually helped in 1906 with the Pure Food Drug Act. So that kind of defined what
Colonel Taylor was in there.
Yes, it defined what a straight whiskey was, what a blended whiskey was, and what an imitation whiskey was. So imitation whiskey is not going to have any grains in it, pretty much. I mean, so he was actually instrumental in that.
Now, was he, was what is now Castle and Key, the old Taylor Distillery, was that his final distillery?
Yes, he actually, you know, it shut down during Prohibition like most of the rest of them. He actually passed away in 1923.
So during Prohibition?
During Prohibition.
So
he actually passed away. Yeah.
So he at what is basically the zenith of his distillery creation, how long did he get to, so from what,
87 to
1920?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That time slot, I mean, he was at the top of the game, so.
Now, was it called, the whiskey then, was it called Old Taylor? What was the whiskey called?
It was Old Taylor.
Old Taylor, okay.
Well, I mean, the distillery itself was E.H. Taylor Jr. and Sons, but everybody knew it as Old Taylor.
Because that was the label on the bottle, it's Old Taylor. Okay.
Yeah, E.H. Taylor, kind of like this.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and what we'll do with our next episode, we'll bring you up to modern day Castle and Key. So we will see you for the final episode.
Stay tuned.